They said I am a bully. They said I am a fraud. They said I crush newcomers for fun. Ella Carter stands at the podium, a black dress, bare hands, and a steady stare that makes the room feel smaller. Flashbulbs pop like sparks. A wall of reporters leans forward, hungry. A producer whispers from the side of the stage. The live stream numbers climb. The ticker under the broadcast reads "Cancelled Star Fights Back," in letters so loud they might as well scream. A reporter shouts, "Did you fake your degree, yes or no?" Another calls, "Did you threaten the crew on your last set?" A third pushes in, "Are you here to apologize or to blame everyone else?" Ella looks at the lens, not the crowd. "I am here to tell the truth." She taps the tablet on the podium. A screen behind her wakes up, bright and clinical. The first file appears, an email chain. "I want it to look messy." A voice says through the speakers, the audio crisp enough to show every breath. "Cut the clip so her words land like a slap. Then push the page about her thesis. People love a good fraud story." The room shifts. A murmur runs like a wave. Ella says, "Lena White, you recognize your voice?" Her tone is clean, almost polite, and that is what makes it cut. A hand goes up in the front row. "We need context." The voice could be anyone. "Of course," Ella says. She taps again. The screen switches to a security video from a studio hallway. A crew member walks past a camera. Lena follows a step behind, smiling. She glances at the lens, then at her phone, then at the crew member again. The timestamp matches the day the first smear clip dropped. Ella says, "This is the moment the so-called evidence was staged." She pauses. The crew member in that clip has signed a sworn statement. He is sitting in the second row. "Stand up, Zach." A young man rises, pale, hands shaking. Cameras snap to him. He says into a microphone offered by a staffer, "I was told to say Ella yelled at me." She did not. "Lena asked me to redo a scene in the hallway and to look scared. She said it would help me get more work. I did it. I regret it." A storm of whispers breaks into sharp questions. Lena is not in the room, but her name feels present, like smoke. Ella lifts her chin. Second file. The screen shows a college letterhead, then the words "Verified Original Records." A seal. A signature. No blurred photos, no cut edges. Ella says, "This is the official statement from my university. My thesis exists. The submission date exists. The advisor exists. The original draft exists. The accusation of plagiarism was built from a forged document that someone sent to gossip blogs." A reporter barks, "Who forged it?" Ella does not rush. She opens a folder titled Lena. Under it are receipts, messages, and a thread of money transfers. "I met Lena 10 years ago," Ella says. "She slept on my couch when she had nowhere to go. I paid her rent when her career stalled. I introduced her to agents who would not take her calls. I gave her auditions I could have kept for myself." Her voice wavers for one beat, then steadies again. "She smiled at me in public," Ella says, "and fed knives into my back in private." A reporter leans forward. "Why would she do that?" Ella answers, "Because I was nominated. Because she wanted the role. Because she wanted my endorsements. Because she wanted my name to become her ladder." She taps the tablet once more. The speakers play a second recording. Lena's voice says, "If she wins, I disappear. I will not disappear. I will make her so toxic that even her shadow gets fired." The room erupts. A dozen questions collide. Ella raises a hand. The gesture is small, but it lands like a gavel. "I am not asking you to like me," she says. "I am asking you to look at evidence." A senior journalist stands, calm, older, with the posture of someone who has seen every lie in the business. Marcus Gray. He says, "I have reviewed the files with my legal team. The timestamps match. The metadata matches. The money trails match. This is not a performance. This is documentation." A young reporter turns, stunned. "Why are you backing her?" Marcus says, "Because I refuse to be part of a mob." Ella looks down at the crowd one last time. "Lena White," she says, and this time she looks like she is speaking to a person, not a headline. You dare say you never sent those recordings to the paparazzi? She lets the question hang. Then she adds, tomorrow morning I will file a lawsuit. Tonight, I am giving the public the truth. Outside the room, hashtags light up like fireworks. Hashtag Lena is not innocent. Hashtag Ella Carter receipts. Hashtag best friend betrayal. And somewhere on a phone screen in a private car, Lena watches the stream and smiles with teeth. 1 month earlier, Ella Carter is on top of the world. She walks into a screening wearing a silver dress and a tired grin, because the last month has been press, rehearsals, and meetings stacked like dominoes. She has just been nominated for a major award. A director shakes her hand. A casting executive calls her. A sure thing. It feels unreal, like a dream you do not want to wake from. Lena White hugs her with perfect timing for cameras. I am so proud of you. She says, cheeks bright, voice soft. You deserve it. Ella believes her. 10 years of friendship has trained her to. That night, the first clip drops. A blurry phone video shows a hallway on set. The audio is chopped. A single line is repeated. Ella's face is half in frame. The caption says she screamed at a runner. The comments move faster than the eye can follow. The next morning, a blog posts a screenshot of a thesis page. It claims the text was stolen. The font is wrong. The margins are off. But the headline is clean and cruel. Hollywood darling lied about her degree. The third strike comes 2 days later. A young actress goes live in tears. She says Ella took her role. She says Ella threatened her. She says the industry rewards monsters. Brands call. Contracts pause. Meetings are cancelled. One studio issues a statement that Ella is no longer attached. Another removes her face from a poster in a single night. Her social pages flood with messages that move from insults to threats. Someone sends her a photo of her front door. Someone texts the address of her mother. Ella stops sleeping. When she closes her eyes, she sees comment sections like a pit with no bottom. When she opens them, she sees strangers deciding she is evil. She calls Lena at midnight. Lena answers on the first ring. Ella, breathe. We will fix this. You believe me, right? Ella asks. Of course. Lena says. You are my sister. The words soothe Ella. That is what they are designed to do. In public, Lena posts a gentle message. She says she stands with Ella. She says the internet is cruel. She says everyone deserves compassion. In private, she texts a publicist, then another. She makes calls on a balcony where Ella cannot hear. She speaks in a low voice that does not match her soft smile. A week passes. The noise grows. The mob feels fed. Ella walks into a meeting with her agent. The agent does not offer coffee. The agent says, we need you to disappear for a while. The sponsors will not touch you. Ella leaves the building and stands on the sidewalk. Traffic roars. People pass. No one looks at her, and yet she feels watched. She goes home and throws up from stress. 2 days later, Lena comes over with takeout, wearing a hoodie and sympathy. She sits close on the couch. She says, I will help you clear your name. Ella nods, numb. She barely tastes the food. Then Lena's phone lights up on the table. A message preview flashes before Lena can tilt the screen away. It shows a name, a paparazzi contact. It shows a line. Drop the thesis doc tonight. Add the rumor about her on set. Ella freezes. Her hand stops halfway to the cup. Her heartbeat goes cold, then loud. Lena notices. She flips the phone face down, too late. She smiles. Everything okay? She asks. Ella forces her own smile. Yeah. She says. Just tired. Inside, something breaks cleanly, like a bone. That night, Ella opens every chat thread. She scrolls back years. She finds small, ugly patterns she ignored. Lena asking for money. Lena asking for introductions. Lena crying, then laughing when the cameras turn on. Lena making jokes about other women, then hugging them in public. Ella stops crying. A calm forms, hard and focused. She deletes her public accounts. She turns off notifications. She tells her manager. I am going quiet. On the last day before she vanishes, she posts one line. The truth will come out. Then she disappears from the mob and starts building a map of the lie. Ella rents a small house on the edge of the city, far from the usual spots where paparazzi hunt. The curtains stay drawn. The phone is on silent. The world thinks she is hiding in shame. She is not. Marcus Gray arrives with a backpack and 2 coffees. He knocks twice, then once, like a code. Ella opens the door. You look like you have not slept. Marcus says. I sleep. Ella lies. Marcus sets the coffees on the table. I did not come to pity you. I came because the story smells wrong. Ella studies him. In the industry, kindness is usually an invoice. Marcus is not smiling for a camera. His eyes are tired, but steady. Why would you help? She asks. Because I owe you. He says. 3 years ago, you stopped a producer from burying my junior reporter. You did it quietly. You never asked for credit. Ella remembers. She shrugged and told the producer to back off. She did not think it mattered. In this business, everything matters. Marcus opens his laptop. We start with the video clip. He says. We find the raw footage. He knows a crew member who hates manipulation. That crew member knows who handled the hallway camera. That person knows the assistant who was paid to forget. A drive in a rental car. Small links. Ugly links. Marcus follows them with patience. Ella does her part. She calls a former classmate, then a professor, then the records office. She requests the original thesis submission from the archive. She asks for verification letters. She asks for metadata. She asks for the kind of proof that survives a courtroom, not just a comment section. She also prints old messages with Lena. She highlights key lines, not for drama, but for pattern. She digs out bank statements. She finds transfers with notes like rent and emergency and I will pay you back. There are dozens. The more she finds, the more her stomach turns. At night, when Marcus leaves, Ella sits at a keyboard in a room with no decorations. She opens a folder she has kept hidden for years, songs. Before acting, she wrote music. She wrote in airports, in trailers, in hotel rooms. Lyrics were the one place she did not have to smile. But she kept it private because acting already demanded her entire life. Now, with her career burned to ash, the secret feels like a weapon. She writes a new song and names it Truth. The chorus is simple, the melody sharp. It is not a pity anthem. It is a refusal to be erased. She records a rough demo on a cheap microphone. Her voice is raw, but honest. The words sting like cold water. Marcus hears it the next morning and goes still. This is you? He asks. Ella nods, embarrassed. It is nothing. It is not nothing. Marcus says. This is a second career. A bigger one, if you want it. A few days later, a message arrives from Arthur King. It is not a public message. It comes through an old contact, one of the few directors who has Ella's private number. Arthur says. Come to my studio. No press. No excuses. Ella drives across town with her hands tied on the wheel. She walks into a rehearsal space that smells like wood and dust. Arthur is there, hair gray, eyes sharp, a man who has the power to make or break people with a single decision. I heard the noise. Arthur says. I also heard it does not match you. Ella swallows. I can prove it. Save your proof for the court. Arthur says. I am offering you work. He slides a folder across the table. The title reads Backlight, an original musical drama. I need a lead. Arthur says. A woman who can act like her heart is burning and still hit every note. Ella's fingers tremble as she opened the folder. I am not a singer. She says automatically. Arthur looks at her like he can see through walls. Marcus sent me your demo. Ella snaps her gaze to Marcus, who stands by the door, hands in pockets. You sent it. She demands. Marcus lifts a shoulder. You needed a stage. Arthur leans forward. If you want to survive a media war, you need more than receipts. You need excellence. You need the public to remember why they loved you. Ella breathes in. For the first time in weeks, her lungs feel full. Okay. She says. I will do it. And I will write the music. All of it. Arthur smiles once, brief and dangerous. Good. Then we will make them choke on their lies. The announcement hits the industry like a thrown glass. Arthur King is making a new original musical. Ella Carter is the lead. Ella Carter also wrote the entire score. People react in two camps. One camp laughs. They call it a stunt. They call it desperation. The other camp pauses. They remember that Arthur does not gamble on weak talent. Rehearsals begin in a closed studio. Arthur bans phones. He bans visitors. He bans leaking. If I find a recording device, he says, I will personally throw it into the street. Ella works until her body feels like a bruise. She trains her voice every morning. She runs scenes every afternoon. She writes at night, rewriting lines and melodies until they land. Sometimes she remembers the comment sections and her throat tightens. Then she sings louder. Marcus keeps building the case. He interviews a junior crew member who was pressured to lie. He finds a paid influencer group chat. He tracks payments that come from a shell company that leads to Lena. He does not publish yet. He stacks proof like bricks. Meanwhile, Lena enjoys her borrowed kingdom. She shows up at a fashion gala wearing a dress that used to be promised to Ella. She poses with a smile that says she belongs there. Reporters ask about the scandal and Lena sighs softly, performing sadness. It breaks my heart, she says. But I cannot control other people's choices. I wish Ella peace. Sophia Green stands beside her, hand on Lena's arm like a sponsor. Sophia has a history of playing the game hard. She loves watching a rival bleed. Sophia says, the industry is about accountability. If you hurt people, you face consequences. Lena nods, eyes shiny, the perfect victim of someone else's alleged cruelty. The audience eats it. Until opening night. Backlight premieres in a downtown theater with no red carpet. Arthur does not want a circus. He wants an audience. But the internet finds it anyway. A critic posts a photo from the lobby. A fan uploads a shaky clip of rehearsal music heard through a side door. The word starts spreading, Ella can sing. Inside the theater, the lights dim. The first notes hit like a heartbeat. Ella steps onto the stage. Her character is a woman swallowed by rumor, hunted by strangers, betrayed by someone she trusted. The script is fiction, but the pain is close enough to be real. Ella speaks a line, then sings. The sound is not polished in a pop way. It is honest. It is sharp. It has grit. It has a kind of control that comes from surviving. In the second act, she performs the song Truth. The lyrics do not name names, but everyone in the room knows what it is about. By the end, the audience is on its feet. A critic writes, this is not a comeback. This is a revelation. Clips flood the internet. People who mocked her go quiet. People who hated her pause. People who never cared suddenly care. Hashtags return, but with a new tone. Hashtag Ella Carter back. Hashtag backlight is fire. Hashtag who framed her. On the morning after opening night, Ella posts the first wave of evidence. Not everything. Not the whole case. Just enough to crack the story. She uploads screenshots of old messages where Lena begged for help. She uploads bank transfers. She uploads a timeline that shows Lena meeting paparazzi contacts right before each smear drop. She writes one caption. I fed you when you were hungry. You repaid me with a knife. The internet shakes. Lena watches the trend line on her phone and feels it slip. She calls her manager. Fix it. She snaps. The manager says, I cannot stop this wave. Lena's smile breaks. Then I will drown her first, she says. She schedules a press event. She lines up influencers. She buys a new swarm. Sophia sends her a message. Hit her private life. That always works. Lena types back. I will end her. She believes she can. She is wrong. The next smear wave hits at midnight. Anonymous posts claim Ella has affairs. They claim she abuses drugs. They claim she pays people to lie for her. The stories contradict each other, but the volume is the point. The goal is to make truth feel impossible. Lena appears on a morning show with a pastel blouse and watery eyes. I never wanted this. She says. I tried to protect Ella. I stood by her. Now she is attacking me because she cannot accept consequences. The host nods, sympathetic. Then the host asks. Did you send anything to paparazzi? Lena presses a hand to her chest. No. She says. Never. That afternoon, Marcus Gray publishes an article, not opinion, not gossip, but documents. He includes screenshots of payments, the shell company trail, and a calendar log that shows Lena meeting a known paparazzi broker in a hotel lobby. He writes, a lie cannot survive timestamps. The article spreads. Lena panics. She calls Sophia. I need more. She says. Sophia laughs softly. You wanted the crown. Crowns come with blood. Do what you must. That night, Lena drives to Ella's house. She wears a cap and sunglasses. She thinks she is invisible. But Ella has learned. The world tried to destroy her. She stopped being naive. A security camera over the garage captures Lena slipping inside through a back door. Ella is not home. Marcus insisted she stay at the theater overnight after a rehearsal. Arthur insisted too. Do not give them a chance to corner you. He said. Lena moves fast. She searches drawers. She checks laptops. She opens a closet where Ella keeps printed files and boxes. She finds the binder labeled Lena. Her hands shake. She flips through pages. There are recordings. There are emails. There are names of people who took money. She hears a sound and freezes. A motion sensor light turns on. Lena bolts. Outside, she scrapes her arm on a hedge, swears, and stumbles into the car. She drives away with her heart punching her ribs. The next morning, Ella posts the security video. She does not add a dramatic caption. She lets the footage speak. The internet explodes. People who stayed neutral now pick a side. Former assistants, stylists, and junior actors who were burned by Lena step forward. They share stories of being manipulated and threatened. They show screenshots. They show audio clips. One young actress posts. She told me to accuse Ella. She promised me a role. I was weak. I am sorry. Another writes. Lena tried to make me sign a fake statement. A crew member says. She paid me to say Ella screamed. She did not. Even a paparazzi blogger posts, hungry for survival. Lena has been feeding us for months. Sophia senses the wind turning and does what she always does, she cuts ties. Her publicist issues a statement. Sophia Green had no involvement. Any rumors are false. It is too late. Marcus has emails. Ella posts them. An email from Sophia's assistant says. We will boost the clip, make it trend. Price is attached. People do not forgive easily when they realize they were played. Brands drop Lena in hours. A studio removes her from a film and announces reshoots. Her agency asks for a meeting and does not offer a chair. Lena tries one last play. She goes live on her own account. She screams. She is lying. She is manipulating you. The comments are not kind. They flood her screen like stones. Show your proof. Why did you break in? Why are there payments? Lena's face twists. She ends the live stream. She throws the phone across the room. In the silence, she hears the thing she feared most. No one is coming to save her. Award season arrives like a slow wave. Backlight becomes the show people cannot stop talking about. Critics praise the acting, the music, the raw honesty. Tickets sell out. The cast bows night after night to standing ovations. Ella keeps her focus tight. She does not gloat. She does not chase revenge for fun. She lets the work speak, and she lets the case move through the system. The lawsuit lands in court with heavy binders of evidence. Lena's lawyer tries to dismiss it as a publicity stunt. The judge does not smile. A prosecutor reviews the forged documents. Another reviews the breaking and entering. Another reviews the money trail. Lena is charged. The word spreads. For the first time, the internet sees a consequence that is not just comments. Sophia avoids cameras for weeks. On the biggest award night, Ella sits in a theater in a simple gown. She does not wear a crown dress. She wears something that says she belongs, not something that begs. Marcus sits 2 rows behind her, watching the room like a guard dog. Arthur King sits beside her, calm. Whatever happens. He says. You already won. Ella smiles faintly. I want the trophy. She admits. Arthur snorts. Good. When the category is announced, Ella's heart tries to leap out of her chest. And the winner is. The presenter says, and the pause feels like a lifetime. Ella Carter, for backlight. The room erupts. Ella stands, stunned for a second, then walks. The stage lights are bright and unforgiving, but she has lived under harsher lights, the glare of a mob. She takes the trophy. The medal is cold, then warm in her hands. She looks out at faces that once turned away. She says, "Thank you." The first words are small. Then her voice steadies. I was called a monster. She says. I was called a fraud. People I never met decided I deserved to be erased. She pauses. I was betrayed by the person I trusted most. She says. I fell hard. I felt humiliated. I felt afraid. But I did not stop working. I did not stop telling the truth. Her gaze moves across the room. If you ever join a crowd because it feels easy, remember this: crowds can be wrong. Applause swells. She adds. Thank you to those who checked evidence. Thank you to those who waited. Thank you to those who stayed kind. She looks at Arthur. Thank you for giving me a stage when I had none. She looks toward Marcus. Thank you for refusing to sell a lie. When she steps off stage, reporters swarm backstage. One asks, do you feel satisfied now? Ella answers. Justice is not a feeling. It is a process. Weeks later, the court verdict arrives. Lena is convicted on multiple counts tied to forgery and unlawful entry, and sentenced to a year in custody. The ruling is dry, legal, and final. The internet rages for a day, then moves on to the next trend, because that is what it does. But Lena's career does not return. When she is released, no studio calls. No brand wants her. The gates are closed. Ella does not watch her fall with joy. She watches it with a quiet, tired acceptance. She builds something instead. She starts a foundation to support artists targeted by coordinated harassment. She funds legal aid. She funds counseling. She funds digital safety training. She does interviews that focus on solutions, not spectacle. When asked why she does it, Ella says, because I know what it feels like to be alone in a storm. On the last night of Backlight's run, Ella stands on stage after the final bow. The theater is dark except for one warm light. She sings Truth one more time, not for revenge, but for herself. After the curtain falls, Marcus meets her in the hallway. You did it. He says. Ella exhales. I did not do it alone. Marcus nods. What happens now? Ella looks at the exit where the night waits like a blank page. Now. She says. I write the next chapter before anyone else tries to write it for me. Months after the verdict, the internet moves on, as if the whole war was a short season of a show. A new scandal takes the top spot. A new face gets dragged. A new crowd feels brave behind a screen. Ella does not pretend that victory fixes everything. Some nights she still wakes up hearing phantom notifications, like rain on a roof. She still checks the locks twice before bed. She still flinches when a stranger says her name too warmly. But she also walks into a studio with her head up. She signs her first album deal on her own terms. No fake smiles, no softening her story to protect someone who tried to bury her. The songs are clean and sharp. They talk about trust, about hunger, about the way envy can wear a friendly face. At a fundraiser for the foundation, a young actor approaches her, hands shaking. I almost quit. The actor admits. People made up a story about me and it spread so fast. I thought I was done. Then I saw what you did. Ella studies the actor's face, young and exhausted, and sees her own past self. What did I do? She asks. The actor swallows. You stayed. You did not vanish. Ella nods slowly. Staying is harder than fighting. She says. But it is how you win. Marcus sends her a message a week later. It is not a headline, not a clip, not a trending tag. It is a simple photo. It shows Lena leaving a courthouse in plain clothes, head down, no cameras chasing her. Marcus writes, "This is the end of her story in the public eye." Ella stares at the photo for a long time. She feels nothing like triumph. She feels a quiet, strange grief for the friendship that never really existed. She types back, "Let it stay ended." That night, she opens a blank document and starts writing a new script. It is not about revenge. It is about a woman who learns to trust herself again after betrayal. It is about the slow work of rebuilding. She writes the first line, then stops. She thinks of the press conference, the flashbulbs, the crowd, the way the world tried to decide who she was. Then she writes a second line that belongs only to her. Outside, the city keeps humming. Inside, Ella keeps creating, because creation is the one thing the algorithm cannot fake. And that is how she remains untouchable.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.